guys, it is another lazy Sunday, and I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I hope you guys are having a great Sunday and you're reading. This week I'm going to be sharing with you 3 books that I have been reading, and 2 of them are actual physical books, and then 1 of them is an audiobook. So let's just go ahead and get started. So this first book that I'm reading is called 20 Boy Summer, and it is by Sarah Ockler. I hope you guys can see the cover. I know there's a bit of a glare coming from the window that I'm sitting in front of, but I really love this cover. It has this beautiful heart made out of pieces of glass that you can find at the beach. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar with this story is about 3 best friends, Frankie, Anna, and Matt. Frankie and Matt being brother and sister, and Anna being the next door neighbor, and they basically do everything together. They used to go to the same school. I think Matt is about 2 years older than Frankie and Anna, so they used to go to the same school, and they basically do everything together. And one day they are on their way to their favorite ice cream shop, and this tragic accident happens, and Matt dies. And basically they're trying to deal with the loss of this friend and this brother and trying to move on from it. And that's essentially where the story takes off. It starts off really slow and sad and depressing, and then it's starting to pick up now, and we're actually starting to get into this vacation that Frankie's family does every year, in which they go to this beach. I think it's in California, I want to say. It's called Zanzibar Bay. So every year they always go to this beach, California city, and they just have this vacation, and they spend a couple weeks there, or I think a couple months. And so this is the first vacation that the family is going to be having, in which they bring Anna, and they don't have their son Matt there. So it's kind of different, and the family is trying to cope with the loss of the son, and Anna is trying to cope with the loss of her best friend. The one thing that kind of puts a spin on things and kind of makes things interesting is the fact that weeks before this accident happened, Anna and Matt kind of had a thing going on, and Anna didn't get a chance to tell Frankie anything about it because Matt said that he was going to have to tell his sister himself, and he never got a chance to tell her. So there's kind of like this secret going on that Frankie doesn't know about, and Anna really wants to tell her, but just can't seem to because she promised that she wouldn't. It's a pretty good book so far. I love the cover. I think that's like my favorite thing about this book, and it really caught my attention when I saw it on the shelf. But it's a pretty cute summer read, and I've been craving summery, light, and fun, quirky kind of books. So I figured that this might be one of the books that might fit well into this summer reading thing that I have going on. So this next book that I am reading this week, I actually wasn't planning on getting. It was kind of like a last minute thing while I was at Barnes & Noble. I decided that I wanted to skim through the tables that they have set up there, and then I saw this book that the cover itself got my attention because it was this bright yellow color, and then it had a picture of a little girl in the front, and then when I went to read the synopsis, I was like, I need to buy this book. And the book that I'm talking about is called Sold by Patricia McCormick, and it has this little award thing on here, so that must be good. And this story is basically about a girl named Lakshmi, who is this 13-year-old girl that lives in this village with her family in Nepal, and she's basically sold into prostitution. And they're really poor, and they don't have very much money. They rely solely on their crops and whatever money they make from that. And so this big monsoon comes around and just wipes all of their crops clean, and they basically have no money. So her stepfather, which I don't think they give the name of the stepfather in the book, but her stepfather decides that he wants to sell her into prostitution to get money. And so she's sold, and it just takes off from there. It's a really different kind of book. It's actually not written in like chapters like most books are. It's written in vignettes, and I hope I said that right because I've never heard of that word before, but it's kind of like poems, but they don't rhyme. I don't think that was a very good description, but it's not like your typical book that has chapters. It just kind of has like a title in the front, and then it has like a paragraph, if that, or a page, and kind of like that. Like every page has its own section, which is I guess kind of like a chapter, but they're really short, or they could be a little bit long, like a page and a half. So far, I've been really enjoying this book. It's an easy read. It's not hard to follow. It's pretty quick, and I like the style that it's written in. It is written in the 13-year-old girl Lakshmi's perspective. Lakshmi. I hope I said that right. If you guys know how to pronounce that name, please let me know, or if I'm saying it wrong, just let me know, but I think that's how you pronounce it. But so far, it's a really good book. I like the concept, and I like what it's about, and I like that it's told in this 13-year-old girl's perspective, so you guys should definitely check it out if you think you might like it. This last book that I'm reading is actually an audiobook, and I've been reading it on my iPhone, and it is called The Selection by, I have no idea who that is from. Let me check. I should know these things, right? Like when you're reading a book, you should know who the author is. It is by Kira Cass, and it is read by Amy Rubinate. And here's the cover, just in case some of you guys haven't seen it, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have seen this cover, because it's a really pretty cover, and you guys have probably already read it. I've had this book for a while now. I think I've had it for like a month, and I haven't gotten around to reading it, and I'm finally listening to it because I've had some time off, and I've been at my parents', and my parents don't have a TV, so I just read now. And so far it's a really good book. It kind of reminds me of The Hunger Games / The Pledge, because I read The Pledge, and it kind of had the same concept with the different caste systems, and so it kind of reminded me of that. And then it also reminded me of The Hunger Games, because it kind of had to do with a large number of people battling it out to see who would win. So it kind of reminds me of those two books put together. The Selection is about a girl named America Singer who enters this competition between 34 other people in order for a chance to win the crown and be the next princess of Ilya, and then also to marry this really cute prince named Prince Maxin. And for any other person, they would have been really excited to enter this competition and be one of those people that gets a chance to live in the palace. But for some reason, America doesn't want that. She didn't want to enter the competition in the first place. She just didn't like the idea of having to compete with other people and having to leave her family and also having to leave her secret boyfriend behind. And so in the end, she ends up submitting her name thanks to her mom kind of bribing her, and then also her secret boyfriend kind of, I guess, making her feel guilty and just asking her to submit her name. She ends up putting her name in there, and she gets selected. And so it kind of talks about her experiences and living in this palace and having to learn what it's like to be this next princess and get to know the prince and his family. And she kind of makes this arrangement with the prince and tells him that if he's interested, she can kind of be like his spy amongst all the other girls and find out which girl would be best to be with him, considering as how she doesn't really want to be there and she doesn't have any feelings for him because she still cares about her ex-boyfriend. But he ends up agreeing to this deal, and he ends up deciding that he wants to keep her around so that she could help him choose his next princess and choose his future wife. And I kind of feel like even though they're supposed to be friends, I kind of feel like she's going to end up falling for him, and I kind of feel like they're going to end up being together anyway. But I'm not going to say that that's what's going to happen. That's just my hypothesis, but I have a feeling that that's what's going to end up happening. But so far, the story is really good. Like I said, it reminds me of The Hunger Games and then The Pledge. If you guys haven't checked out The Hunger Games, you should definitely read it because it's a very popular series. And then if you also haven't checked out The Pledge, that's also a really good series. I listened to that book as an audiobook, and I think there's another book scheduled to come out for next year. I'm not exactly sure what day, but that's also a really good book. That is all for me this week. I hope you guys are having a really great weekend, and I hope you guys have a really good week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!